Okay, so while I'm on a roll and I'm thinking about watercolors and talking about all these artist grade Daniel Smith and Schmincke Horadam watercolors that I've just got, I thought I would also mention, before I got these, because these were very recent purchases, both of them, so I've only really been using them the last 3 weeks. So prior to that, all these watercolor classes, I was using these two watercolors primarily. So there is the Kuretake set here. This is the 36-piece set, and I still have to say I love the metallics more than anything. So these will still be my preferred metallics, so that hasn't changed at all. But then these are my Peerless watercolors, and this is the book that I created to use them in. They actually come in something like this. So this is the bonus pack, and it comes in large sheets that I've actually just cut, like, you know, a 1-inch square sort of thing off of. And then these are the other ones. These are the originals. And they come like this, and they're just in there. So that's what they look like when they're in their standard. So there's actually a really big sheet, but I just cut off little bits so I can make like a travel one. So I swatched these two to see. Part of our task for the intermediate class was to swatch all of our watercolors. So I used Strathmore 400 series paper to do it, and you're testing opacity and translucency and the lighter, like it's the same color. So let's take a darker one so I can show you on camera, but it's the same color, but one's 2 coats, one's 1 coat, and there's a white line through it just to show you stainability, and then the black line, if you can see a film over top of it, means they're opaque. So I went through all of these, and I have to say, if I went and preferred looking at these, my preferred tendency is to go towards the Peerless. I know the Kuretake is actually artist grade Japanese watercolor paint, so it's definitely is still a watercolor paint. They take forever to make the pans really good. So they're really large size pans, and if you want to compare them to the Schmincke Horadam half pans, you can see the size difference. Like, you get a lot of pigment for the cost of it, so really cost effective. I know the one artist I was following, her recommendation was this Schmincke Horadam for artist grade, but then her student grade recommendation was the, or not student grade, but cheaper watercolor was these Kuretake ones. So definitely don't discount them as good watercolor. Personally, with my swatches, I ended up preferring the Peerless ones, mostly because I got a really smooth look. They had such a smooth finish when they actually dried, and I really, really love that. So like this line here, this side is the Kuretake and this side is the Peerless. So there was a lot of very beautiful colors. Obviously I have more colors in the Peerless, but I just like the vibrancy and the smooth finish, the translucency of the Peerless. By all means, like, this book I've done is the handiest thing in the world. Like, look how thin it is. It's a book. You can take this anywhere. This is definitely my travel one that I take with me. It's light. It doesn't, you know, so when I'm flying or anything like that, and I can't afford anything heavy in my suitcases, this is super light. You bring a brush and some water, or one of the the water brushes, and you can just start painting as is. You don't need any palettes. This little plastic sheet I've put here is for mixing colors if I'm needing to. It works like a, it's just a piece of acetate, but works like a palette. So yeah, so I didn't want to just put all these big posts about like the artist grade stuff that I've just invested in everything else without touching on my other watercolors. So I will definitely always still be using these Peerless because they are just so convenient, so handy, and so mess-free, especially when traveling or not actually at my desk here watercoloring, or even if I'm at the couch. Like, it's so much easier to take this little book and a water brush with me to the couch in front of the TV and work with this over that, which is huge, or even over these. So I just wanted to mention that as well. And look, I did most of my first projects for the class with these two. So, and I was still really happy with the result, but it was just time for me to upgrade to something different. So the other point being that the Schmincke that I liked about these, the pans have the exact same formula, the exact same paint as the tubes. So a lot of the other brands that have pans and tubes, they actually have different paint in the pans. So to me this was excellent, and they're perfect for rewetting. And over tubes I do like the a little bit less messy having it in a palette. So yes, I know, I'm sure I've talked way too much about watercolors now, but I just feel like I was only telling you half the story before with the haul, just showcasing what I've just purchased, and not actually speaking about what I already own. So yeah, so they're still, my older sets, they're still going to get a lot of good use. The Kuretake ones, what I have noticed, being they're a little bit more opaque, meaning they're not as translucent, is they look almost more like gouache. So it's really cool because like a gouache, I don't have to buy a gouache now. Like I can just use these as substitute for what I want, a watercolor look, but actually to be much more of a solid color, so more opaque than watercolor, which is supposed to be very translucent, which is your Schmincke Horadam ones. And my Peerless ones are also really transparent. So these ones act more like a gouache, which is really cool, and something I didn't really realize until I had done my swatches. So I think that's really great. So it's kind of cool that I have these other supplies, and they're not a waste anymore. So I love that my Peerless are perfect for travel. I really love the result of them still, and that's great. And my Kuretake ones are very much like a gouache, so I have another purpose and another use for them. I still love the metallics, and they are my favorite colors still, and they make very vibrant paints. Also, if I'm not, like, because there's so much paint in here, this would be perfect to practice your brush strokes and that sort of thing on, because you're not really worried about wasting paint. Like my Peerless, because it's on a piece of paper, this is like finished product. That's what I'm using this one for. This is our finished product specialty sort of thing. I don't really use these with practicing, so even doing my color swatches, I'm thinking, no, I'm wasting my paint, it's precious. Whereas with the Kuretake ones, these pans in here are so big that with so much color that I feel like I can have so much freedom in using as much paint as I like. So they're really big, like the half pan of the Schmincke will fit 3 times in here. So heaps of paint, perfect for all of my technique practicey, you know, oh, don't want to use the good stuff yet, and not so just practicing. I'll be using this stuff, just working on brush strokes, and also then again for gouache. So I think that's really cool that my old supplies aren't redundant now that I have my new ones. So I really like that I have a really nice set now that I can use for many, many things. So I just wanted to touch on that because I know, like, these are super expensive, and if I hadn't been watercoloring for 3 years, I definitely would not have invested in these. Or like, I don't know how long it's been, 2 to 3 years anyway. But I know that I really enjoy watercoloring. That's why I went with the artist grade, expensive option. Like, I know everyone told me the 24 would be good enough, but anyway, these were on special, so I got them. But as far as my other products that I got to learn on and practice on and find out if I really liked it, love these still. Like, they're not gonna just sit in the corner and not be used. So I wanted to mention that as well. but they got great uses. Now my Inktense ones, which are here, which is my other source of watercoloring, they're awesome. I have to say, the Inktense I think of as slightly different to my other watercolors because when they go on, they're permanent once they're dry, whereas all these other ones, they will still move and lift and change when you add more color on top of them. The Inktense do not. And so regardless of what other watercolors I use, these have an entirely different purpose, and I've really gotten used to using them. I like that they're in pencil form, and they're less messy than even my Peerless, to be honest. So that's what, they'll never go obsolete. I really enjoy them. And I think it's just going to come down to, oh, I feel like playing with these today, or oh, I feel like playing with that. Or I want to do a really lovely vibrant wash, so, and I want it to be translucent, so let's use these. Or I'm traveling and I want to take my watercolor, so I'm going to take that. Or I want something a little bit more, more opaque and more vibrancy. Well, not vibrancy. Looks more substantial. I don't know if that's the right word. Opaque's probably the best word. I'll be using these, and for everything I want permanent, use these. Or I love these too for adding texture to critters. So these are definitely all amazing products. So whichever one you have, I would definitely recommend any of them. Yes, any of them. It all depends on your budget. I actually think when I bought these, my Peerless were the cheapest, and then these two are very similar in price. I actually found the Inktense were cheaper in Australia than the US, the retail price, which was cool, and the Kuretakes, they're about $100 with shipping in the end, so I think they're around $80 what I had to pay for them at least. So there are really good options for less money. So, okay, just wanted to mention that to everyone. Bye! I keep forgetting to mention things, but I just want to say that the Schmincke Horadam and both the Inktense have amazing light fastness. So if that's what you're interested, those two are really, really good. I couldn't really find a rating for light fastness on this one. I haven't really tested it. And the Peerless are pretty good as well, but they're not really artist grade, whereas both the Inktense and the Schmincke ones are really suited for light fastness, if that's what you're looking for, like a finished piece that you want to display on the wall or something like that that won't fade. Okay, bye!